Good evening, members. My name is Graham Watts. I'm the Director of Governance and Monitoring Officer at Bedford Borough Council, and this is the meeting of the Standards Committee. The first item on the agenda is the election of chair. Do I have any nominations for the election of chair, please?
Can I nominate Councillor Massoud, please?
Thank you. Is that seconded? Any further nominations? All those in favour then of Councillor Massoud? Duly elected. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everyone, choosing me as a chair. So, thanks again. So, shall we start the 18th agenda item 2, appointment of vice chair. Do we have any nomination for the vice chair?
I'd like to nominate Councillor Sawyer.
Seconded? Yeah, seconded. Congratulations, David Sawyer. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Any more nominations? No. Agenda item 3, question from the members of the public and members of the council. Agenda item 4, apologies for absence.
Councillor Gambold sends his apologies. I am substituting for him.
Okay. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to leave early. I have to be at a meeting in Great Barford as well tonight, so I will have to go to that, I'm afraid. Sorry.
Okay. Minutes, yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Just an apology from John Jones, who is one of the Council's independent persons who can't be here this evening and did intend to come along to the meeting this evening.
Okay. Right. Agenda item 5, minutes of the last meeting. Does the committee approve the minutes of the meeting held on the 17th March 2026 as a correct record and authorize me to sign them? Yeah. Thank you. Agenda item 6, disclosure of local and or pecuniary undisclosable pecuniary interest. As I know members appreciate, it is important that we observe the provision of the Code of Conduct relating to the disclosure of interest. Can I ask members to disclose their interest and the existence and nature of any local and or disclosure of pecuniary interest in the tonight's business? Thank you. We'll move to the agenda item 7. Sorry, it's the agenda 12 now, not 7. I mean, I've been asked to bring number 12 forward. Oh, sorry, it's not yours. It's the next meeting. Yeah. Agenda item 7, proposed change of the members' code of conduct. Please, I could ask Graham Watts, monitoring officer, to provide his presentation.
Thank you, Chair. So the document before the committee this evening is a recommended revision to the Member Code of Conduct, which has materialised as part of the comprehensive review of the Constitution, which is being undertaken by the Constitution Review Working Group. The main changes relating to the code are mainly to be consistent with other changes that the Constitution Review Working Group has made to other elements of the Constitution, so that there's some consistency in terms of formatting and wording. But there's also two main sections of the code that are recommended to be changed or amended. The first one is the introduction of reference to gifts and hospitality, which at the moment is not included as part of the Code of Conduct. There is a document within the Constitution that is a guidance document on gifts and hospitality. What the Constitution Review Working Group is proposing is that actually those guidance documents don't form part of the Constitution. They actually form part of a handbook for members, which would still be accessible online. But actually the reference to gifts and hospitality and the requirement to include gifts and hospitality on a register is a new addition to the code that currently isn't there. So that's one main change. The other main change is in relation to a requirement in the current code, which is in relation to executive members at Overview and Scrutiny Committee meetings, where if there's a decision that they have been part of, they're currently required to leave the chamber during debate of that particular item. The Constitution Review Working Group's recommending that that provision be removed from the code because it's actually referenced in a out-of-date framework in legislation that was superseded by the Localism Act. So the proposal is that that element be recommended for removal. You'll see from the document that it's colour-coded. Hopefully that gives you a bit of assurance that all parts of the current document have been accounted for in relation to the changes that are proposed, and I'm happy to take any questions in relation to any of the amendments that the Constitution Review Working Group have recommended. Thank you, Chair.
Any questions to this statement? Yes, Councillor Baywater.
Thank you. Yes, the colour coding really helpful, thank you, because it saved reading the whole thing in detail. Did wonder about the change in the level of gifts and hospitality from £25 to 50, because I can't see a particular reason beyond inflation, which would be one argument. I don't see a particular reason why that should be raised. Is there a particular reason?
The only reason is that £50 is referenced in the Model Code of Conduct that the LGA have produced and their latest guidance. I'm more than happy to retain £25 if that's the wish of the Standards Committee, but the only reason it was included as £50 is just to be consistent with the latest guidance of the LGA. But again, it's entirely this committee's preference if you wish to make a recommendation that we retain £25.
Thank you. I would like to propose that we retain £25. I think it's that the sort of confidence generally in politicians is low, nationally and locally, and I don't see a particular reason for raising it. It's only likely to reduce people's confidence. And I mean, £50 is quite a nice meal out. It's quite a few bottles of wine. And I don't think we should be accepting anything at all from someone who we could be, you know, beholden to, thinking about national politics in particular, but definitely locally as well. So I would like to propose that we retain it as 25, as that was the previous level.
Can I go around for asking questions before we come back to you on that one? Thank you. Any more questions? Yeah. Yes, sir.
Thank you. I mean, I think it's something I've raised before, maybe a year ago, I don't know. Whether we land on £25, £50 or somewhere in the middle, perhaps, I don't know. My concern would be, and it's a bit of a side issue, but my concern would be communication to members. I think it's important that this is sort of reinforced, if you like, or you know, just to remind members of what the figure is. I think, I might be totally wrong here, but I think if you did a straw poll and ask members what the amount is, you might get some different answers. So I think communication is very important. I know it's a side issue to what we're talking about, but I think it's something we needed to think about moving forward as well. Just to go back to Councillor Bywater's proposal, £25. I think there probably does need to be an increase to £25, if I'm honest, but I think £50 too far. And the other question I would ask, and you raise a very good point actually, you know, £50 can buy you a nice meal. I just wonder sometimes as a member how you know the value of anything anyway. I don't know. I mean, so you've got to be very careful, and I guess if you're in doubt, then declare it. That would be my answer. But that's just a technicality, perhaps. But I think I'm thinking somewhere in the middle of the range of 25, not 50, but over £25 to increase it. That's where I am at the moment. I think. Okay. Thank you.
Chair, the only thing I was going to say was I'm more than happy to issue some guidance to members. Obviously, when the amount is agreed, I can reiterate what the amount is, but I'm more than happy to circulate some guidance now based on the current arrangements so that the members have got that reassurance of what's expected in terms of registering gifts and hospitality, which I'm more than happy to do.
Yes, Councillor Memard.
Thank you. I think that would be really helpful if you could do that guidance. And I think, I mean, obviously we do have all these tweaks to the Constitution. It probably would be helpful for everyone, all members, to regularly have a look at all the changes because it is hard to keep abreast of it. I think, I mean, when we come to that point, I'd be very happy to second your proposal, Councillor Bywater, because I think from the point of view of, it reminds everyone to have to register that it's that level. And as you say, it's that confidence that we're not just taking gifts, which we're not, as far as I'm aware. So I'd be very happy to support keeping it at that level personally. Thank you.
Any more questions? No? Right. So shall we go back to the recommendations? I mean, your proposal, anyone's going to second that? Okay, seconded. All agreed? Can we have the hand? Yeah. 25 pounds. Yeah. Thank you.
So, Chair, can I just confirm that you've just agreed to recommend the changes to the General Purposes Committee, but that the value is £25, so that the recommendation is going forward to the General Purposes Committee? Yeah. Thank you.
Right. Agenda item 8, Code of Conduct Complaints Update. Please could I ask Graham Watts, Monitoring Officer, to provide his presentation. Thank you. Graham.
Thank you, Chair. This report provides an update both on the previous municipal year's Code of Conduct complaints relating to borough councillors and parish and town councillors, as well as complaints to date for this municipal year for, again, borough councillors and parish and town councillors. I think it's important to probably just commence with a reminder of the process that's followed when a complaint is received. We have a procedure that's been agreed by the council that is strictly followed for every complaint that is received by myself as monitoring officer, and that process includes consultation with one of the council's independent persons. So every single complaint will always be, the independent person will always be consulted with as part of that complaint. There's an assessment stage at the outset of the complaint. The first assessment stage is a jurisdictional test. So that is basically, is the complaint against someone that's still a councillor? Was the code of conduct engaged? So were they on official council business? And that kind of assessment. If the complaint passes that first jurisdictional test, it then goes to a second assessment stage, which is a bit more detailed in terms of how serious are the allegations? Is there sufficient evidence? Does it meet the tests of robust political debate? Is it vexatious? Is it malicious? Is it politically motivated? And those kind of elements. If there's substance to that complaint and there's potential breach of the code, it would then proceed to a formal investigation, and that could result in a hearing. If at that second assessment stage there's no substance to the allegations that have been made, a decision notice would be issued at that stage and no further action would be taken. But I just wanted to give you that reassurance that agreed procedure is followed very strictly in relation to any complaint that's received, and every complaint is dealt with on its own merits. So that is how every single complaint is dealt with when it's received. So Appendix A sets out the complaints that were received against borough councillors for 25-26, and similarly, in Appendix B, you've got an overview there of the complaints against parish or town councillors for the same period. I provided this information because this is a complete municipal year. At the last meeting, it was just before the end of the municipal year. So that provides you with a full year's worth of the complaints that we received and the outcomes of those complaints. Appendix C sets out the complaints made against borough members for this municipal year to date, and you'll see that there are some still ongoing and yet to have an assessment decision made in relation to those. So they are still live complaints. And then Appendix D, again, you'll see that the complaints that have been dealt with to date in relation to parish and town councillors. One of those, PT2 on Appendix D, that's been postponed because a complaint has been made by the complainant against the officer who is undertaking the assessment. And so whilst that is being investigated, I've postponed the assessment of that code of conduct complaint, and until that is finalised, then that code of conduct complaint assessment won't continue. But I'm pleased to report that that complaint has now been resolved, so I'm expecting that assessment to be undertaken in the next week or two. I'm happy to answer any questions, Chair. The information in relation to the complaints is generic in nature, because obviously there's personal data associated with individuals who have been subject to allegations, but I'm happy to take any questions, Chair.
Are there any questions on the presentation? No. Are there any comments on the presentation? Yes, Councillor Sawyer.
Thanks, Graham. So I'm referring to Appendix C. This is the complaints against borough councillors in the municipal year just ended. I think actually it means the current one. But anyway, so BB1. I think it's important, I mean, Graham's outlined the process of dealing with complaints, which is quite detailed and I thought was quite clear. Although I would ask, if I may be allowed a question here, whether or not he would remind members, or I think it's members in particular, but maybe others, of this process. He did it once before, I think, when the process was established, but it's important to understand how the process works. There's initial assessment, investigation, and so on. The other second point I want to make is in relation to BB1, which is a complaint that no further action is being taken. It's worthwhile putting on record that the reasoning, the basis of the assessment that's been made, has been circulated to most, as Graham says, the complainer and the complainant, so the people individually involved in the complaint, but also to myself as Vice Chair of this committee and Councillor Masood as Chair. So we have been able to understand the basis on which the assessment was made. The reason why the document is not more widely circulated, even to other members of this committee, is because it contains personal data, which is inevitable, if you like, because if you're making an assessment, you're clearly going to have to, or it's likely you're going to need personal data in relation to the interests which are being, in this case, complained about. So I want to firstly make it clear that we have seen that basis. I also want to refer briefly, if I may, to BB2, which both of these complaints have had profile publicly in the press, social media and such like, but BB2 was a particularly serious one, and I won't repeat the words that were used here, but I imagine colleagues and many other people have seen the complaint. The point I want to make, these are extremely serious, and the Standards Committee needs to be doing its job, and this is a big part of its job, the governance of the process by which complaints are being considered and concluded. And although the assessment's ongoing, so we don't know the outcome of this particular one, it's very important that where members are making complaints and where members are receiving complaints, that it's done in an appropriate way. Because a complaint of this seriousness doesn't just affect the individual members concerned, but affects the reputation of the council, of councillors, and arguably the borough more widely. So they're very serious items, and I think I look forward to receiving or seeing the outcome of this complaint as well. I shall stop there. Thank you.
Want to answer that one? No, it's okay. It's just any more questions? No. Right. Any comments? No. The recommendation that the Standard Committee notes the update regarding the complaints received by the monitoring officer since the last meeting of the Standard Committee. You're all agreed? Yeah. Thank you. Right. So now we move to the agenda 9. Agenda item 9, Register of Gifts and Hospitality. Please could I ask Graham Watts, monitoring officer, to provide a verbal update on this matter. Thank you, Graham.
Thank you, Chair. I suppose really I wanted some guidance from the committee as to the expectation around this item. It's a standing item that normally comes. The entries that I tend to receive on the Gifts and Hospitality Register, both from members and officers, are relative. I don't really receive that many, and I'm conscious that I usually come to the committee and basically say there's no further update. So I'm more than happy to provide information to the committee, but I guess I'm seeking some advice as to actually what is it that you're interested in relation to updates on gifts and hospitality. If it's things that you think I should be raising with you that I have concerns about, or if it's just any entry that I receive that you would like to have sight over. So it's just a bit of an open-ended question there to the committee, Chair. Thank you.
Any questions to this vote? No? Can you clear this hospitality? What is it from? Is it any person, from any person, or is it just...
Yeah, so in accordance with the guidance, at the moment, any gift and hospitality over £25 should be registered with myself, that's received by any member of the council or officer.
Can I, Councillor be able to?
So I know you have a lot of work to do, Graham, and I expect most of us don't want to give you an extra burden of putting every tiny sort of little thing, but I wondered if it'd be useful to have a sort of table and categories, so whether it was food and drink or whether it was holiday or something, I don't know, or if it was some gift in kind, it would just maybe the sort of category and the number, and it might be 0, as you say, sometimes it might be 0, so that might be useful.
So effectively in the same format as the complaint, quite a generic overview of the kind of things that are being registered, just so that you've got some oversight. Yeah, I'm happy to do that for future meetings. Thank you, Chair.
Any more questions? Yes, Councillor Sawyer.
So, Graham, how many gifts were registered in the previous financial year?
I think 3 in total. I would have to check, but there's not many that are registered. So I didn't have that many at all in the last financial year. But again, I'm more than happy to provide that summary.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Just really goes back to the point I was making a few minutes ago, actually, because you said there's been 3, which I think really is good news because it shows that we don't get treated as much as what public perception may suggest. But however, you know, being slightly negative, or it could be, because not everyone is aware of that £25. So I think, you know, we need to reinforce that message as much as we can and wherever we can. I think it's really important that we do that. Yeah, thank you. That's a comment, I think. Yeah, thank you.
Any more questions? Any comments? Yes, Councillor Sawyer.
I mean, if 3 was the correct figure, picking up Councillor Meader's point, then I think, I'm not sure how much we would learn by receiving details and classifications. I'm happy to support Councillor Bywater's request, but I'm not sure we as a committee will learn a lot from it. I think what we might look at, 2 things. Firstly, is after Graham reminds members of their duties under our code, whether or not the 3 increases in the current financial year. It may or may not do. And any issues, I mean, if he's aware that there's an issue, particularly a generic issue arising from gifts and hospitality, then we certainly want to know about that. so we could provide appropriate governance to it. But if the current item is to continue, I have no major problems with that.
Any more? Thank you. Right. This item's for noting. Is this agreed? Thank you. Right. Agenda item 10, dispensation under Section 33 of the Localism Act 2011. Please could I ask Graham, what's monitoring officer, to provide his presentation. Thank you, Graham.
Thank you, Chair. This is an annual report that the committee receives on dispensations, and you'll see at paragraph 5.2.1 the dispensations that are currently in place, which were agreed back in 2023. I am actually recommending a new dispensation, which is in relation to the Bedfordshire Pension Fund for those members who are either in receipt of a pension or contribute to the pension scheme. Any member that was at full council will remember the number of declarations that were made in relation to the pension fund. So it's my recommendation that we grant a dispensation for all members who are in receipt of a pension or contribute to the pension fund. Thank you, Chair.
Sorry to be a pain, but thinking about it, I am a member of the pension fund, so do I need to declare an interest before we declare this item?
Interest, yeah.
Yes, so can I declare
Yeah.
an interest? Should I?
No.
No, okay. Thanks.
Is there any? Two. Okay, thank you. Any more? That's okay. Right. Any more questions on this? No? Right. Are there any comments on this report? Yeah. Right. That the committee notes that no dispensation have been granted since the last report to the committee on this matter. That's number one. Number two, that the additional dispensation be granted for the remainder of this municipal year to the end, enable the mayor and the members to participate and vote in any council business partnering to the Bedford Borough Pension Fund at meetings of full council without the need to declare disclosable pecuniary interest or local interest. Is this agreed? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So we move to the agenda 11. Work program 2026-2027. Are there any questions? No. Are there any comments? No. Right. That concludes item 11. Thank you for your all attendance. There being no other item of the business, I declare this meeting is closed. Thank you very much. Thank you. Where's the other script? Is this for me?
That's the one for the audit committee.
Thank you.
I'm not appointing staff. So we're electing the chair again, isn't it?
Yeah. I need to get off.
I'll give it back to you. That's good. Okay.